Hello, hello. Right, and welcome to In the Spotlight, where we interview some of our actors and actresses from the Northern Players. And I'm pleased to have our first guest on In the Spotlight, Melanie, one of our favourite actresses. So, hello, Melanie.
Flatterer, hello. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm fine. Right, I have a few questions to ask.
Okay.
Nothing in depth, but light-hearted in some ways, to find out what makes you tick. So my first question to you, Melanie, is this. How did you get into acting?
Right. Well, I always wanted to act, but I was a very shy little girl, and we didn't do any acting at my school at all, apart from operettas, and I wasn't really one of the singers at school. But there was a girl in my class who had private drama lessons, and I used to rehearse with her when she was trying to learn lines, and I thought, I really, really like this. And then after university, I went to live in France for a year, and a friend of mine was teaching English at the university, and we joined the Franco-Anglais Club, and they were going to put on a production which was in English. So, and they wanted us to be in it. And again, I felt really shy, but we decided that we would share the role and we'd do it on alternate performances. And the play was called The Fate of the Gold Miner's Daughter or something. It was set in the gold rush,
right,
in America. And they decided it would be hilarious fun if me and my friend Sue played the French can-can dancer. Because they thought if anyone else who was French played the role, the audience would just think they couldn't speak English with an English accent. Right. So they figured when everyone knew we were English, they'd realise we were putting on a French accent. But it did actually get lost on some people, because I can remember we toured a school and I heard these little kids in the front row going, well, her English accent's rubbish. But that was my first taste, and I felt kind of confident because I thought, well, English is my native language and it's not theirs, so
yeah. But
if I do go wrong, I can make it up.
So how did you end up at the Northern Players?
Well, it was quite a long time later, and I thought, really, if I want to do this, I'm just going to have to do it now. I don't want to leave it too long. And I lived in Withington at the time, so first of all, priority that it wasn't too far away, and the second priority was that it was a theatre that had their own theatre, and you rehearsed on the stage you were going to act on. Because I thought I'll just be terrified if we rehearse in a church hall and then have to act on a stage. Yeah. So I went round a few theatres in the area, and I went to Northington. They were at Boat Lane at the time, in that lovely tiny little theatre, and they were very good. So I thought, well, this is the kind of theatre group I would like to belong to. So I auditioned for them.
Excellent.
There we go.
What was your first role?
My first role was in a play called The Heiress, which we did again fairly recently, but this was back in 1988. And I played the role of Marion Armand, which was actually a tiny role, but I thought it was massive. And I was in 2 scenes, and I had 2 costumes, which I was thrilled about because I've always loved dressing up. It was only later that I realised my dress looked rather like one of those crinoline lady toilet roll covers. I'm going to try and experiment, actually, just to see if you can see this.
Yes, certainly. Oh, yes, I can see that. Oh, dear.
Yeah.
Yes, so, I see what you're saying here.
Yes.
Brilliant. It's amazing. So when you got this role, so you did a bit of acting in, what was it, France?
Yes.
And how did you feel on your sort of like, did you feel nervous? Did you have butterflies? Did you feel like running away?
Well, it's a long time ago. I think I was probably terrified, but also really exhilarated. But this being a Northern audience, I mean, the first thing that happened, the minute I went on stage in my toilet roll cover dress, a very loud voice from the auditorium sort of said, "Oh, she's new." and then another one piped out, "Oh, that's a lovely dress." So at that stage, it was a case of trying not to laugh rather than anything else. I mean, I had been warned that might happen, but when it does, you know, it's a bit of a shock.
So when you were rehearsing for this part, sort of thing, did you feel like you'll never get to grips with what's happening around you? You know, like movements, speech, learning lines.
Yeah, well, I knew nothing about theatre. I didn't know what upstage, downstage, stage right, stage left meant. So I was a complete beginner. It was, the director was somebody that I don't think has ever directed for Northern before or since. And he was very, very tough. Yeah. I mean, incredibly rude to us all right at the beginning, because the play was set in Boston in America. And I think at the first rehearsal, he kind of said, "Well, you all sound as if you come from different parts of America, so just get your act together," you know.
So would you say accents is not one of your strong points?
Oh, no, I like doing accents.
What's your favourite accent to do, would you say?
Which what, sorry?
What's your favourite accent? What accent do you like?
I'm not sure I've got a favourite accent, but I do try really hard to get the right accent. And I remember I was in a play called Trivial Pursuits that was set in Wales. I didn't know anything about the Welsh accent really. And my husband Barry was teaching at the time, and there was a Welsh teacher at his school. So I said, "Can you ring her up and see if she'll read my play?" And she was an English teacher, so she was quite happy, you know. So she read my entire part. And quite early on, she had to say the name, I think it was the name of the village they were talking about. And she suddenly stopped and she looked at the blurb on the author and she said, "We comes from the Neckers village from me." So I had absolutely the spot on accent because I was imitating her, and she came from the Rhondda Valley. So after that, I became very picky about, you know, if I'm going to learn the accent, it's got to be from the right part of the country. And
yeah, so you had your first performance under your belt, right? Everything's gone smoothly, absolutely fantastically. You shone like nobody's business.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. But you went on to perform other roles, many more roles after your first performance. I suppose you had to, learn new skills?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the first major skill I had to learn was tap dancing. We did, we've done stepping out fairly recently, but we did it a long time ago. And I think a couple of people could tap dance, but the rest of us were sent to learn tap dancing. And this was months before we started rehearsing. And my mother was a dancer, so I thought, it must be in the genes, I'll be fine, you know. I could not pick it up at all. I began to panic. You know, we got nearer rehearsal, and I thought, if I don't pick it up next week, that's it. I'm going to have to stop and let somebody else take over. And then suddenly it clicked. So I did learn tap dance. I mean, I didn't keep it up, so I probably couldn't now. I'd have to start all over again. But it was great fun. Thoroughly enjoyed doing it. It was really
excellent. So when you know these new skills, okay, you know, so like some roles do need, you know, like tap dancing or what was it, throwing knives, or I don't know, some roles doing some strange things that you've never done before. But there's also other skills as well, like your listening skills, your directional skills, and how to bring that. Do you use any of your skills from the stage into your working environment? Like if someone's speaking to you or at meetings or anything like that? Do you understand, sit there and listen?
Yes, I think I probably do, actually. And I'm quite good at disguising what I really think.
Right.
Yes. So I guess it has been useful from that point of view.
Well, that's good. That's good. More questions, if we can find any now.
Mm-hmm.
You've done numerous plays. You have done quite a few plays at the Northern Theatre, but there's always different styles of acting and different styles of theatre. So, like costume, drama, thriller. What would you be? What do you like performing in out of these styles, and why?
It's difficult, really. I mean, I think one of the reasons I wanted to act was because I loved dressing up. I had a dressing up box as a little girl and was constantly dressing up. So I guess even though I like doing comedy drama, I do love costume dramas. Just get my hands on one of those amazing costumes.
Those flowery, big, long, flowing dresses and all.
Yeah. I mean, I have two favourite costumes that I have managed to wear twice, over the years. And I'll try again to see if you can actually see the pictures.
Oh, yeah.
So this one.
Yes, I can see that. That's nice.
That's an original 1920s evening dress.
Very nice.
That's a play called Hay Fever. And the character I was playing, called Myra Arundel, was described as a vamp who treats sex as a shrimping net.
Oh, typecasting again.
Oh, absolutely. So we went to this costume hire place. And of course, 1920s, they bring out all these flapper dresses, with sort of knee length, and I just said, no, that's just not suitable for her. She would be wearing a long, slinky dress.
Yeah.
And the lady in the shop said, well, she said, I have got an original dress, but I don't usually lend it out. She said, you can try it on. And it just fitted like a glove. And I said, I've got to wear this. And, so I was delighted she hired it to me. And I played the same role in another theatre group a few years later.
We were to go.
Back and I said, I want to hire that dress. And she said, I never hire that out. And I whipped out my photograph and said, but you hired it to me. So I got it again, yes. Yeah.
So what would you say was your most hardest sort of like role to get your head around, to create a character? And what play was that?
So we're not talking about lines, we're just talking about roles generally.
Yeah, roles in general, yes. Because I have difficulty in being a cad. I can't play cads.
Right.
I'm like, hello. I can do the voice of that, but I don't feel comfortable in doing that. I had to play a role like that once, and I just did not feel comfortable in it whatsoever. So is there any sort of like characters you have that sort of feeling about?
Let's think. I don't know. I quite like getting my teeth into anything, really.
Right.
I mean, there are roles that you find more difficult to play. But no, I mean, when I first started acting, I was always cast as the kind of wimpy, shy person.
Right.
And then more recently, I got cast as the sort of very, very forceful person. So I think people forgot that I could play the kind of shy, wimpy people.
Yeah.
Which was a bit, with Ladies in Lavender.
Mm-hmm.
That was quite interesting, actually, because when they said they were going to do Ladies in Lavender, everybody said, oh, I'm sure you'd be really good at Janet. And no, I want to be Ursula.
Well, it's like you're saying, like when it comes down to sort of like learning the play, like getting your teeth into it. Yeah, we all have a go, even if we don't feel comfortable with it. But a lot of people do typecast certain people within shows. They think, oh, he's good at comedy, or she's good at such and such. But deep down in every actor, they've got this part they want to play. They really want to play this one character that stands out from the rest. And if they have that chance, they would jump on it, sort of thing. Have you a character or a role you would love to get your teeth into?
Sadly, I'm too old now to play all the roles I felt like that about. I mean, I really, really wanted to play Maggie the cat in Cat on a Hot Tin Roof.
Yeah.
I really wanted to play Jean Brodie.
Oh, you would be excellent as Jean Brodie.
Yeah, I love that.
You playing that as well.
Yeah. And one of the plays I love the most is The Importance of Being Earnest. So, I mean, even when I started acting, I was too old to play Gwendolyn Fairfax, but I always wanted to play her. I guess I'd be more of Miss Prism or.
What else? Well, recently you're talking about Ladies in Lavender.
Yeah.
And by the way, congratulations on being nominated for Best Actress.
Thank you.
I think that's been drawn today.
It's tonight, yeah. Tonight.
Fingers crossed. And if you don't win, there's something going wrong somewhere. Because I enjoyed every single minute of that show.
Oh, thank you.
You're one of the actresses I like looking at on stage, or even behind the stage of the wings. I make it a point to go and watch you. And I'm not lying. I'm not just being creepy or anything like that to you. I actually do enjoy your work. I love the movement on the stage and the way you hold yourself. And I'm very interested in that side of things. Of like, yeah, they're acting, but look how they're acting, how they do. Yeah. They're working their skills, they're doing this, they're doing that. And you seem so natural in it as well. And it was a joy to watch you, an absolutely joy. And I'm not just saying that, it really was. How you could feel the emotions, you could touch the emotions from you. How did you get into that character? And what did you have to draw on to play this?
That particular character, when I read the play, she reminded me so much. I know she was an older lady, but she reminded me so much of myself when I was in my teenage years. I was very gauche, I was very awkward, I was a late developer, I had no experience in anything, and I also fell hopelessly and unrequitedly in love with somebody. So I just drew on that the whole time, and I actually found it really easy to play. I found it easy to learn and easy to play.
Do you feel like, you know, when you're drawn in on your experiences in life, you know, for this role and everything else, is it sort of like, therapy, you know, to release? like when there's a shouty part for me, that's therapy for me. That's just emotions out and everything else. But does it, when you finish the show and you walk off being that character, are you still that character? Do you feel she's still in there somewhere?
Yes, and also if I'm in a play and I play a certain type of character, I find it very hard to let it go during the week. So if it's a sad play, you feel sad most of the time. Yeah. If it's a happy, you feel quite happy. You know?
Well, an actor's life is like ups and downs, isn't there? Sort of thing. You know, one minute you're this actor, you're playing a happy person, and the next play you're in, you're going to be this person. Yeah. You know, no wonder half of us are sort of like on medication or something like that. Don't know how we survive. But like I said, you were absolutely fantastic in that play. A real joy to watch, by the way, and
thank you.
A real joy to watch. An absolute fantastic acting. But you just don't act all the time, do you? You don't act all the time. You've got other things that you do. Theatre group. So a trustee. Now, what does that entail? What does that?
Well, I used to be on the committee, and I was on the committee for felt like 100 years, really. So I stood down from the committee, but I thought I don't want to sort of lose touch. So I agreed to be a trustee. And the idea, now that we're a charity, the trustees are the people that ensure that the theatre or that the committee achieve the objectives of the charity, which is basically to advance dramatic art and establish and maintain a community theatre for everyone, to entertain the wider community. So we're just there to make sure we achieve that and to make sure we do everything we're supposed to do, like have various procedures. I mean, most recently, I think at our most recent meeting, we were talking about, you know, checking we've got all the right health and safety procedures and things like that, really. Yeah. So it's not terribly onerous, but it's kind of a way of just kind of keeping involved.
That's good. Well, you've got to keep an eye on these people. You know what they're like. You know,
absolutely. Yeah.
If it gets loose, who knows what will happen. after you're trustee, you've got the trustee, you're acting, busy lady, absolutely busy. There must be something that you do outside the theatre and outside the trustee role that relaxes you, interests. What makes you happy outside of the acting side of things when you're not acting?
Well, I actually love walking. I belong to the East Cheshire Ramblers, and there's nothing I like better than being out in the hills in the fresh air, just walking for miles.
I used to do a lot of walking in the Peak District and the Lake District. Me and a friend of mine, we used to go walking. I love walking. Didn't realise you walked as well. So just walking.
We're walking even more at the moment.
yeah, that's true. Yeah. So you like being out in the countryside, open air, and everything else. Is that
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah, love
Your favourite place to visit?
Oh, there are just so many. You know, I mean, I love the Goit Valley.
Yes.
Which is, you know, just gorgeous. And just being out on the hills, you know,
it's a feeling that you have to do it to appreciate what it is, and the achievement to get to where you're going as well, and to see that view. It's worth every minute of it. It really is. Right, we're going towards the final questions. Really, I don't know if they've been long enough or anything, but we'll see. So, on a lighter note, I heard you on Northern Radio.
Yes.
I nearly fell off my chair when I heard you chose a record.
Oh yeah.
One of my top 5 bands, the Santana.
Yes.
Smooth, I think it was called.
Yes.
Explain yourself.
Dancing.
Is it the Latin American style of things?
Well, I like Santana anyway, but I love that song. That just is, as I say, guaranteed to get me dancing. I just love it.
It is an excellent tune. It really is an excellent tune. And I put it on again. When I heard it, I thought, I have not heard that tune in many a time. It was a real pleasure to hear it. It really was. But
it was a boiling day as well, actually.
Was it? Yeah, it was right for that day as well. It was really right for that day. Is there anything that you would like to contribute? Any more things that we should know about you? You know, I can't think of anything at the top of my head at the moment because we flew through these questions. I thought, no, really. So theatre, where we've moved in at the moment, do you think that's a great step forward for Northern players themselves?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the first time I got on that stage was in Ladies in Lavender, actually. I hadn't been on it before then.
Have you?
No.
Oh, right.
New experience for me.
Right.
Yes.
So are you excited in what might happen in the future for the theatre?
Oh, yes, yeah. I mean, I'm fascinating about this raising the roof. I can't quite imagine how that's going to happen. But
I can't either. But I was very pleased when we did get that theatre. I thought we deserve, as a group, we do deserve to have our own theatre, really.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. But I also speak to the audience sometimes, and they always say to me as an actor, how much you get paid.
What?
So, are we supposed to get paid for this? Are we? But they don't realise that what we do, you know, like what we have to do to do these parts, and we don't get paid any penny from it whatsoever. So we do it for the love of it. So a lot of people might see you on the stage and think you're getting paid for it. You're a professional actor, sorry, actress, and everything else. And all I can say to them is that we do it for the love.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, and you must love the theatre. Do you go to theatre yourself?
Oh yeah, yes. A lot of things at the Royal Exchange. Things at the Lowry as well. Yeah, I love going to the theatre, and I've been watching a lot of these NT Live productions that have been on during the lockdown on YouTube on Thursdays, released on Thursdays.
I didn't know about them. I didn't know that.
Fantastic. Yeah, there's the one on at the moment, because you can see them for the whole week. They just change on Thursday at 7:00. It's The Deep Blue Sea with Helen McCrory, which I'm looking forward to seeing because I haven't seen it yet.
Right.
But I'd
So,
seen a bit of them already because the National Theatre release things at the cinema sometimes, and I would go and see them anyway.
oh, good. So, out of all those theatres in Manchester,
Yes.
there's one theatre I would love to. I think it's the Royal Exchange. I would
Yeah.
love to get my feet
Yeah.
in that space.
Yeah.
Is there a theatre, one of those theatres that you would love to go? Oh, would I to be on here?
It would be the same for me. It would be the Royal Exchange. I mean, we once did a play in the round at Northenden called Duets, and we were in the big church hall, and we actually had, you know, the audience in the round, and that was terrifying. I was terrified at the time. I thought, you know, I'm going to be surrounded by all these people. You know, there's nowhere to hide. But having once, you know, enjoyed it, so I'd feel more confident.
So yeah, it's like I did a round once, and I did feel exposed that they were there in front of you. You couldn't make a mistake. They were watching every move on your face.
Yeah.
So if you're on stage and you make the odd slip up, you can pull the facial expression when you turn your back away from the audience,
Yes.
or as you're walking off. But
Yeah.
in a round, you're open to the
There's nowhere to hide.
nowhere at all to hide whatsoever. Right, Melanie. I'm getting a wind up here from a certain person.
From your director.
Yeah, my director. So I'd like to say a really thank you so much for this, going out your way to for this experiment, let's just say.
Yeah.
And I hope we have more of these in the spotlight. And it was a pleasure, an absolute godsend for you to be on here today. And I hope some of our audience members, when they see you on the stage, realise how much work, effort, dedication we as actors and actresses put into a show. And we might be classed as amateur dramatics, but we do professional training.
Absolutely.
We really do. And we put our all in for that one show, or for them performance. So thank you so much, Melanie. I hope it was long enough and pleasant enough, and not scary as I'm feeling. And I hope to see you again on the flip side, as it were. I'm back on that stage, so I can watch you again. It's a pleasure.
Thank you very much, Francis.
And thank you so much, Melanie, for appearing today on In the Spotlight. So thank you and goodbye.
Okay, goodbye.
Bye.